Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to build your very first modern web app. And we're using one of the most powerful tools out there, Angular, to show you exactly how it's done, step by step. So, have you ever noticed this? You're on a website and everything feels just instant, super smooth. But then you go to another site and every single click has that little annoying pause. Well, the secret behind that seamless experience, that's what we're diving into today. Yeah, it really all boils down to two completely different ways of building websites. On one hand, you've got the old school way, multi-page applications or MPAs. With these, every click forces your browser to reload the entire page. It's just clunky. But then you've got the new way, single-page applications or SPAs. These things are lightning fast. They change content instantly, which is why they feel more like a slick app on your phone. It really all boils down to two completely different ways of building websites. On one hand, you've got the old school way, multi-page applications or MPAs. With these, every click forces your browser to reload the entire page. It's just clunky. But then you've got the new way, single-page applications or SPAs. These things are lightning fast. They change content instantly, which is why they feel more like a slick app on your phone. So, what is an SPA really? Well, think of it like this. It's a website that only loads its main structure. The header, the sidebar, just once. After that, it only swaps out the content you actually need. And that is what creates that super responsive app-like feel. The best way to wrap your head around this whole thing is with a really simple analogy. Let's call it the picture frame. Imagine your website's main layout, the header, the footer, the navigation bar. That's the picture frame. It loads up one time, and then it just stays there. Now, when you click on something, say to go to your dashboard or your profile page, you're not reloading the frame. You're just swapping out the picture inside. See? The frame never changes, and that's the magic behind why it feels so incredibly fast. And this, right here, is where Angular just shines. It's what we call a batteries-included framework. That means it comes with everything you need to build huge, complex apps right out of the box. Its built-in router is the brains of the operation. It automatically handles all that picture swapping for you. It just watches the URL, and boom, as soon as it changes, it loads the right view right inside that frame. So simple. All right, so before we can start building anything cool, we need to get our tools in order. We've got to build our workbench. Let's get your professional development environment set up with 3 absolutely essential tools. We're going to knock this out in 3 simple steps. We'll get the engine, the command center, and then the code editor. First things first, Node.js. You can think of this as the engine that's going to run everything behind the scenes. Now, this is super important. When you go to download it, make sure you grab the version that says LTS. That stands for long-term support, and it basically means it's the super stable, reliable version. You definitely want that one. Okay, once that's installed, let's just make sure it worked. You're going to open up your computer's command line. On a Mac, that's the Terminal app. On Windows, it's Command Prompt. Just type in node-v and hit enter. If you see a version number pop up, you're golden. You're ready for the next step. All right, tool number 2, the Angular CLI. CLI just stands for Command Line Interface. And trust me, this thing is your magic wand. It's an incredibly powerful tool that lets you create projects, generate code, and manage your entire application just by typing simple commands. To get it installed, you just have to run this one command in your terminal. That little G flag means you're installing it globally, so you can use it anywhere on your computer. Oh, and a quick heads up for Mac users. If you see a permission error, don't panic. Just type sudo right at the beginning of the command, and you should be good to go. And just like we did with Node, let's check that it installed correctly. Type ng version and press enter. And if all went well, you should be greeted by this awesome, big, red Angular logo. It's a pretty cool moment, not gonna lie. Okay, last piece of the puzzle for our workbench, the code editor. And really, for modern web development, especially with Angular, the choice is clear. We're going with Visual Studio Code, or VS Code. It's free, it's powerful, and it's pretty much the industry standard for a reason. But a fresh install of VS Code is just the beginning. Let's supercharge it with 4 extensions that will make your life so much easier. First, the Angular Language Service. This gives you amazing code completion. Think of it as an expert looking over your shoulder. Then, Prettier. It's a code formatter that keeps everything looking neat and tidy, automatically. Auto rename tag, oh man, this is a huge time saver. And finally, the material icon theme, which just makes your file explorer way easier to read at a glance. Seriously, don't skip these. They're game changers. Okay, our workbench is built, the tools are ready, now it's time for the payoff. Let's put this setup to the test and prove it all works by creating our very first app. So, head back to your terminal. We're going to run 3 simple commands. First, ng new, followed by the name of our app. This kicks off the whole creation process. Now the CLI is going to ask you a couple of quick questions. For the style sheet, just pick CSS. And when it asks about server-side rendering, or SSR, just say no for now. We can get into that later. Once that's done, the second command, cd, just moves you right into that new project folder. And finally, ng serve. This command fires up a local development server so we can see our app live. Once your terminal finishes its thing and tells you it's compiled successfully, it's time. Open up your favorite web browser, Chrome, Firefox, whatever, and go to this address. And there it is, the default Angular landing page running live on your own machine. You just did it. And just like that, you've literally gone from nothing to a fully running single-page application. The toolset you just put together, it's the same professional setup that developers at places like Google and Microsoft are using every single day. The foundation is officially set, so the only question left is, what are you going to build next?